Hey you guys, Class Wars Finals coming up. Sorry, this is coming a little bit late for me. I was at a friend's home when I was recording this. I'm sitting at about 611k BR, just a tad under there. Got my Sylph troops, Hercules, and Medusa, and we're fighting Eleonora. Just a recap of what my general build is that I'm on a Will Destroyer build, and what I took out, what I replaced with my crit gems is quite a bit of block, 5 block gems, a little added defense, and then obviously took out all my crit items. I think I added a PDF Astral into my Astral build instead of my Sniper's Edge, and then obviously switched my Determination over to a Will Destroyer. I find it really fun, and so my general strategy here was I want to Sylph first, and then Amnesia once they get into Sylph mode. I usually lead off with a Devour Soul just because I can. The other option would be something like Devil's Gaze, just something that is single target, and then once they Sylph, then I hit the Amnesia rune, hopefully it blocks their Delphic, and then I use Death's Harvest and my Delphic to take out their troops. Awesome troop would be Medusa. I would say Medusa and maybe Triton are the best troops. I don't have a Triton that's up to snuff, so I'm basically just using Hercules to absorb damage for me. But Medusa does all the buffing and debuffing that is really useful for me. One is the, I think it's called Whispering Wind or something like that, that does a 30% increase to my damage for my whole team, and so that's huge. And so there was a pretty prime example of how I wanted things to go against everybody, but in that case Eleonora, and so I have the 30% increase from Medusa as well as a steal, and steal will actually take away their awakening points and give them to me. So even though I don't have Medusa as the Sylph on me that I awaken into, Medusa does steal the points and gives them to me, which is just really OP and amazing. So I suspect that I'm going to see a lot of Medusas in the future and more Tritons. I'm not personally willing to build a Triton just for this. It's just too many resources. I don't know anywhere else that I would use them. Maybe if Sylph troops become a regular thing in all of the game and not just Class Wars, then I'll consider it. But as of right now, no Triton plans. So here's Garlic, again same strategy. The only thing that I adjusted is I led with a Guardian Rune because I'm going to use Amnesia later anyway. A lot of people are liking to start with Thunderer now, so when I was in that fight with Eleonora, it just dawned on me that maybe I should lead with a Guardian Rune. So I do that throughout this, and I think it was fine. It didn't really affect me. I didn't feel like, oh no, I should have had that Guardian Rune earlier again, and so it was fine. So here, yeah, basic strategy. I feel like strategy talk-wise, it's going to be a little bit boring just because I do almost the same exact thing against everybody. You know, as somebody who's very open about my strategies, my tune, and everything, and I record everything each month, so everybody knows what I'm up to. I do like to change it up a little. You know, you saw in prelims that I was using a Chaos Rune. Turns out Chaos Rune does not actually make them hit their own Sylph troops. So thank you to everybody who pointed that out in my video. And so I adjusted. I decided to bring Amnesia Rune and see how that went. It's a little bit more aggressive than just sitting waiting to waiting for a moment to use my Guardian Rune and such. So. So I really liked it. You know, there are times when I could tell that I did not take out the right skill, or the skills that I wanted to, but that's okay. That's kind of just the price of the risk. Here, I'm doing really well against Garlic, which I was, a fight that I was definitely concerned about just as far as BR goes. She's well ahead of me, but I was feeling really good this whole night. So maybe the results aren't as crazy as aren't the final results. Maybe not the most fantastic that I've done. I think the highest that I've placed is second. I've gotten second twice. I've never gotten first, and I've never gotten third. But as far as just sheer play, I was probably some of the best that I've had in a long time. So victory there on damage dealt. I think Medusa really helped out. I don't think she had her Guardian up when I dealt Vic, so it might just be that people are used to playing me in a way that I hold off my Delphic, and I tend to wait out their Delphic a lot. So my play is nothing like I've done before, largely because I wanted to adjust to these Sylph troops and see if I could be one of the people who was most on top of whatever needed to be done here. I saw it as an opportunity to do well, and I did. I would say that I'm maybe 6th or 7th in player BR, and then I think I show the rankings at the end of this. I think I'm 10th in BR as far as total team power. Anybody that has an Athena, or an Athena, usually because most people are using dark pets, as one of their Sylph troops is going to have a slightly, I guess, inflated BR, just because Athena has more in her maximum BR. So here, the Devour Soul, now into the Amnesia, and probably going to do Death's Harvest. And the thing about doing Death's Harvest first is that it increases damage taken on my opponents by 5%. So I don't think I always feel like it's the best to do that first. Maybe if I want to get my Delphic out earlier, but for the most part, I do Death's Harvest first. So Lala was trying to squeeze in that Guardian rune and didn't quite make it. But even so, just dealing a ton of damage, got a huge crit on the Devour Soul, and I'm down for the count. So I felt really good here, but I did take a loss. Lala is really strong. I think she had the highest BR. I thought it was going to be Moran, who has had a huge BR gains, and I think he may have had the highest during prelims, but I feel like Lala probably got a ton of BR from Soul Seals or something going on during the events between prelims and finals, because she was super strong there. So it was a nice fight, but I just didn't quite eke it out. One thing that I try to do sometimes, maybe people have just caught on. It used to be people would, and I've done this plenty of class wars, it would be something like Rain of Fire, and then immediately use a Centauria and get that going. But I think it's actually better to push back Centauria at least a move or two, just so that you take more damage, so that you're actually healing, and then you have more moves with Centauria in Sylph mode. So Ray goes into, I go into Sylph mode, and Ray gets a pretty nasty Amnesia rune on me, and so I think, what rune do I use here? I use an Amnesia on her. I'm not really totally sure why I would do that so early. Maybe it was just reflex, but so I have to do the single skills, which is not the end of the world. So I don't know, it Ray may have thought that, or may not have a good enough dark pet to bring here, but I do think that Medusa's slightly better as a troop here, but if she doesn't have those options, then I guess not. And Ray has been the biggest, I guess, the long time supporter of Wind Sylphs. I'm a convert. I get it. Totally understand why Wind Sylphs are fantastic now. So I think she may do it just as a signature, or just because it's the only one that she has completely maxed out. I'm not totally sure. But again, a fun fight. Here I'm a little bit weaker as far as resistances go. I have 7 level 7 darks on right now, and then the next most resistance I have is wind, just because I didn't think anybody was going to bring Electro as their main pet. I was wrong about that. There is Arley did bring Hercules as her main, but right now I only have like 2 Electro crystals in, 2 light, 2 fire, and then 4 wind, and then 5 darks. So, troops don't do enough that you should really base your resistances on them completely. Really, you should definitely just protect the most against what you're going to face the most. So I assume for archers and knights, that would be Electro, and for knights, you probably want some water in there as well, and for archers, probably dark. So there, again, winning on damage dealt. I was surprised. I thought there would be more kills just because in prelims, I mean, everybody was dying within self mode, even against the people who eventually end up in the top 16. Here, it says Whitley. I forgot which player wasn't there, but this is just the tune you see if you get a bye. So that just means somebody wasn't able to make it. So here, Lala in the lead, then Morden, Nicholas, Solara, and Garlic I am tied with as far as wins go, but they have higher total BR. So that one loss against Lala already has me out of the top. There's Lovely Lace, and I think this might be her first or second time in Warlords or the top 16 haul for Class War. So just, actually, I'm not sure. She might have been here last time. I have a really terrible memory with names, so unless it's not like a diss at anybody, if your name isn't around for at least like 3-4 months, I'm just terrible about remembering it, unless I have a conversation with you. Again, you guys can find me on Facebook, friend me, chat up about whatever Wartune related stuff. You know, I am in the holidays right now, but I am happy to talk to people when I can. So you can find me at facebook.com/EliaNerdyPanda, and go ahead and friend me. Don't be shy. I think some people are like, feel like they might be intruding on me. That is my gaming profile. It is totally open to the public and to whomever wants to come talk. So here I get an advantage. I think she was taking it is an interesting approach to use Triton, and maybe she thought, oh, you know, I'll heal my troops or something like that. But you know, Triton's not going to deal enough damage, and it was an interesting strategy, but it's not something that I think I would be willing to take into Warlords Hall. You know, the top 16 tend to be very, very aggressive and incredibly strong, and so I don't think Triton's quite going to cut it. So again, leading with the Guardian rune. Next time I might, you know, adjust a little, wait a second to see what they lead with, and then use it at the earliest time they use use a Thunderer, because here Morden led with Damnation, and that's when I was using the Guardian rune, and by the time that he does Thunder, it's not, I've used up too many moves. So a slight adjustment there. Morden having huge BR. He has, especially against him, I was really concerned about damage, because I don't know if I had seen his stats. I had seen them in like BG or you know, somewhere, and his attack stat is just absurd. I'm pretty sure, you know, I have a maxed out my Holy Forge is maxed out on my weapon, and so I do have a ton of attack, you know, with Gaia with no buffs. I'm at 116k, and with Hercules it's something like 120, but his is really outrageous. I'm pretty sure he had to have Holy Forged some trinkets or something like that in order to get his attack. It's very, very high. So sticking with my strategy, but just very concerned. My Guardian rune wasn't up in time to protect myself from this, so I do take quite a bit of damage. And I think I should have gotten out earlier here, but a little bit sluggish. Not a huge deal though. It just would have been a little bit better had I gotten out sooner. One nice thing is that if my Medusa had lived and not been killed so soon, then she could have helped me steal, and then he would have been behind on his awakening progress, and mine would have gotten a lead. And that does happen in some other fights, but here, because he does kill off my troops, I don't have that advantage. So I don't really know if there's anything I can do about that. I really make sure to kill those troops during solo mode. I don't want them sitting around at all. So here I'm just a little bit too late. I do get into this self mode, but I just don't think it's going to cut it, especially with somebody as strong as him. So he does have his Guardian rune, though I do feel like I blocked his Delphic with that Amnesia. 2 big crits. I do have a Guardian Angel on, so he's getting some really nice crits there. He says all the best. I realized looking back at this when I was editing through to cut it down before the voiceover that so many people talked to me and I had no clue. I had my friends around me and I was just trying to manage and focus as much as I could on playing. So I did not pay attention to the chat at all. So I'm sorry to all the people who talked to me. So usually I'll at least try to say hello. But particularly in class, in BG I'll talk on cross server chats plenty, but here also I'm just trying to focus and execute the strategy that I wanted. Here's Ariel, a longtime player. I think there are only 3 people who are kind of on and off with Warlords Hall. Ariel, I mean, she has been in the 17 to 100. I've been in the 17-100 in the past few months. But there are, probably a shift of, 15 people who are regularly in Warlords Hall, and then now there are some newcomers that have gained a lot of BR. So there are a few players: Lovely Lays, Moran, Arley. Anybody else from one of those younger servers? People who just have not been playing as long and who have made their way up, which is totally normal. It's just mostly been older servers, coming up on definitely a year and a half, coming up on 2 years old. And finished. There is definitely a BR advantage. There's some that I had a huge player advantage on, and definitely Ariel in that case. But yeah, so as far as just sheer player BR, I am sitting around 6th or 7th. I think. You can't tell, but I'm just trying to recall who had an Athena as a troop and who didn't. I think that's around where it is. All my sylphs have a little bit of gear, but nothing too crazy. I don't have any of my sylph gear on my troops enchanted, but on the gear that I have on my Gaia at the time is enchanted. It has some divinity souls and such. I actually have some level 1 divinity souls in my sylph gear for my troops, but none of the high level ones. Those divinity souls give a ton of HP, so it gives your player a lot of HP when you have it on your sylphs. I could have used attack or something like that, but honestly I just didn't bother to convert them and think through what would be best or advantageous. I just decided to take the BR boost. Here's Arley with Hercules. I do know that she has a dark pet. I would highly recommend using it here, just because it's so tough with Hercules against mages. But I think she likes that puppy, so she went with that sylph. I think for the most part, Hercules is totally fine, but even against mages, I still use it against mages in BG. I don't adjust that part for mages. But here, it just, for whatever reason, it doesn't quite cut it. Here's Solara. Everybody has this Sengalora outfit. It really is pretty awesome, but I totally understand. I don't know what it was with this game. Tonight, somebody should go through and count this for me. How many times, the first time that I use a Thunder on somebody, their illusion will proc. It happens so many times, I cannot believe it. Just the random number generator, RNG God's not with me as far as that goes. So there, Solara's hitting really, really hard. I did have a damnation on me, but even so, his attack must be super, super high. There he's saying Guardian Rune first. And here Solara's also using the troops in front, which is not a recommendation to me for this case. There might be other situations where you might want the troops in front, but definitely against any field where there's going to be a lot of dark pets or a lot of archers, I wouldn't recommend that, just because you can bloodthirsty or devour soul the troops and do a lot more damage and heal back a lot. So I got a huge devour soul heal just because he had his troops in the front. So big advantage for me. Medusa's Medusa stealing some of his awakening points, so he I don't think he has enough to do it here. Yeah, so he loses his Delphic, waiting a little too long. If you see a Medusa on the other side, this applies to group arena, and pretty much anytime you see a Medusa, they will have steal. If they don't have steal, they did a really poor job choosing skills for their Medusa, or just haven't paid them out yet, because steal is probably the first skill that you want to get, and after that, if you're going to use Medusa as a troop, I would recommend Whispering Wind, which Medusa just used. It's that brutality on top of the whole team. So yeah, just really OP, and does great support. She's gonna steal again here, so even though Solara I think got out before I did, I'm now on par, or actually a little bit ahead of him in awakening process, in building awakening. So it is kind of like your troops are still a part of your tune. It's like they're with you, and they get stuff for you, and they buff you and such, but you can't, for whatever reason, Chaos doesn't work to, have you kill them. The moment that they patch that and decide, okay, like Chaos works, you can kill your own troops, everybody's gonna put that Chaos rune back on. But until then, you can go that conservative approach that I had with the heal rune before, or I think Amnesia is a good choice, maybe a bleed. People have keep on telling me to use that bleed rune. I personally am not going to do it. I think Gratar is the only one with a maxed out bleed rune, and it goes for maybe not even a maxed out. I think it's 11k per tick. Okay, so maybe that is maxed out. But personally, I'm not going to invest in that rune. I think it would only be super advantageous tier in class wars. So yeah. It's not gonna happen. For those of you that really are a proponent of it, I just don't think it's my best option here. Cheese, you are filming? Yes, I am, but you might think I'm not just because this video is like 2 days late. So here's Nicholas. I took a loss to him last time, I think. So I was out for vengeance, but in general, just wanting to beat everybody. I'm an incredibly competitive person. I like to do well, and I always try my best at class wars. I would say, I'm notoriously get 4th place, and I'm frequently about 4th or 5th in BR. Here I'm a little bit lower than that. So it's not, super underdogish, because I am still a strong player, and I still do well, and I'm perfectly capable of winning the whole thing. But it is incredibly hard to win this thing. Just overcoming a BR disadvantage against everybody. Here I do really well, and so yeah, I think I take 3 losses, so I was very close to being in the top 3. So I wanted to push it, and even though I was concerned about getting out of Syl first, I decided to just try and kill him there instead of getting out and healing and having to go through the rounds again. Here, Moran is just, getting into a definitive lead. He has 11 wins. Next best, I think, was 9. Lala. So he's really doing well. And so yeah, it's a very nice job on his part. He was playing really well too. I think this is the best I've seen him. He's clearly brushed up a bit. I'd seen him in BGs and probably the last couple of months in class wars, and he definitely wasn't as proficient in just like Mage PvP as he was here. So he's clearly improved, and that's the same with everybody. Nobody's as good of a player as they were the day before. Well, I guess new patches come out and people have to adjust, but just in general, becoming a competitive player in any game, it's even Wartune, which can be a little ridiculous at times, it has its warts, requires some amount of practice. So I suspect he's going to be a regular and amongst the top players for quite some time. Got my Amnesia out. Here's Helsing. I saw him in the prelims. But Helsing actually gave me the idea for the Amnesia rune, which I don't see him. Did he Amnesia me here? I forget. but he got a nasty amnesia on me during the prelims, and so I was very encouraged to start using that again. There we go, Morden, Lala, Nicholas, Eliatan, over in 4th. I'm in 4th because of my BR disadvantage, but that's okay. You know, it feels the best to do well just on wins. Doesn't mean I wouldn't appreciate a little bit more BR, but you know, I'm pretty conservative about using my resources. I did bring my soul seal, or my soul, what's it called? Soul mark up to 40%, not 40%, level 40, and so it's pretty high, and I decided not to push that anymore. I had another 4,000 or so soul seals between what I got from the gem event and just sitting in my vault, but I decided maybe I would just wait and see. Just you know, the soul engraving event did give rewards for using what's it called, soul seals, but I just thought that maybe later on there might be a better event, and I was feeling pretty good here. I didn't feel you know, so overwhelmed even against players like Lala and Morden. I think Gratar has a decent chunk of BR on me, or Solara. Even though they were hitting hard, I didn't feel like it was impossible to beat anybody. So it wasn't. I didn't feel so at a disadvantage. So things staying the same here. The top 5 all. Oh well, Garlic might have taken a loss there, but at least the top 4 all about the same. Here's Kavla. Oh yeah, Kavla is another one that I think is on younger servers. So Kavla, Morden, Lovely Lace, and Arley are the top 16 players that you know, just have not been around as long. Or they might be on older. Oh wait, Kavla's on Wartune 10. Never mind, that's a very old server. Then that might just be, you know, she didn't cash as much before, and so it's just making her way up now. There's kind of an odd chaos rune. Maybe it's to prevent me from healing before I go into Sylph. I mean, maybe I'm just projecting ideas, but I had no plans to heal there, but maybe other people do like to do that sometimes, so it could be the logic. There's Fox, that kind of is at least a logical literary allusion. So here, I definitely miss getting to the Guardian rune a lot for these Delphics. So I am taking more damage than I usually would. Even so, I think the Guardian rune was still a good idea, even if I get hit with the Delphic once it comes up. If there are still some Sylph turns to protect against, it's still good there. It's just, yeah, it's not quite as OP for the Delphics because I really liked getting that early amnesia out. Here's Gratar. I think he's still using a crit build, which I was surprised about. He was kind of the first one using a Will Destroyer for Class War, so maybe there's that darn illusion on my Thunders again. It was ridiculous. So last fight, I knew I needed this to win. I didn't think Lala was going to take another loss, and so I knew I needed to win here to get into the top 3. So it's the usual stuff. The only difference here is I was taking a lot of early damage because of this bleed rune, so I decided to go with a restore instead of a damnation going into Sylph mode. Oh, I did get the damnation out. Yeah, Gratar is actually kind of more patient about going into Sylph mode. He tends to be second a lot of the time, and I mean, he's had lots of success in Glass Wars. I think he's, you know, maybe he has probably the most first places other than Anne Rose, who has some long-standing number of first place finishes in Class Wars. But even so, it's not personally something I would do. Even though he has done well with it, I feel much more comfortable being the first one into Sylph mode. Again, taking a ton of damage here. For some reason, I missed the amnesia rune. right there, so not the greatest play, but in that case I do get in that Guardian. Ooh, I take a really nasty deflect there. I did feel like I was taking a ton of damage, and so I wasn't sure if it was just deflects or he was just really hitting hard. There's another one. So not getting very lucky there. And so here I have so little health, and there's this 2% bleed on me, that little semicircle cresty type thing, debuff from the dark pet, and so as I'm going out of Sylph mode, I tick that bleed too many times and I die from it. So no, that's not the bleed rune at work, but it is the bleed from Hades. That little bit to when you don't have much health can really make a difference. So I think that's the one case where I really would have appreciated the heal rune that I used to bring, but everywhere else I was super satisfied with bringing Amnesia. So just missed third place there. I would have, if I had won that, I would have gotten third. I wouldn't have been able to get ahead of Nicholas. He had more total BR than I did. So yeah. So there's the fourth place. I get the blessing. I did place the best on my server. I don't think anybody else quite makes it into the top 16. Grimmith probably could get close, and I think Robin is close, but neither of them quite making it into Warlord's Hall. So I get 4,000 glory crystals, which I haven't spent yet, which I really should do because those will end soon enough. I wanted to show the rankings a little bit just to get a sense of things. You know, things are a little bit new here. They changed it so that the battle rating is calculated as your total team BR with the Sylphs. So having an Athena is actually quite an advantage in the sense that Athena has more BR. So if you have a Dark Pet plus Athena, you have some advantage there. So maybe, you know, I am working on Athena now, so if all things are equal and both of my Hercules and my Athena are maxed out, then maybe I'll bring Athena instead of Hercules, just because BR does matter, and Hercules isn't that useful here anyway. And so yeah, the biggest BRs here, Lala, I mean, she must have done something. There's no way that her Sylph BRs are carrying her that much. Her player BR must be ridiculous from, I'm guessing, maybe like level 11 gems and soul seals or something there. Morden, I think, has a ton of Holy Forge and may have gotten some more BR from the gem event as well. So the ones that I'm really close to in BR to, I mean, I was pretty on par with Gratar. I didn't feel that much of a disadvantage. I forget which Sylphs he brought, but so he has a little bit of BR advantage. Those are the three people I lost to: Lala, Morden, and Gratar. But you know, somewhere along the lines, I need to manage to beat them somehow, hopefully in the future. And but yeah, otherwise, as far as just like general performance, I was feeling really good. So I felt like my strategies were really working out well, and so there was a little bit of execution failure in that fight against Gratar, but otherwise I didn't feel that crazy. You know, I was not able to make up for the power difference between myself and Lala and Moradin. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and that you found success in Class Wars and whatever standard that you have. The holidays are coming up, so I might slow down a little bit with videos, but I'm hoping to still get out a little bit of content. So I hope you guys enjoy everything. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah to all those who celebrate. I think we're still in that for a couple days, and yeah, so happy holidays and take care. Have a very good day.